All right, well, no one's here, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to really be talking much unless there are people hanging out and wanting talking, but we're going to be working on building out some Astro functionality for a game that I kind of want to just kind of throw together. So you can see I'm already kind of in the middle of things. But yeah, I want to build out, I've got a word list that I'm working for an actual like real world game, which I think is interesting. I need to adjust this a little bit. Let's see, camera. I am not centered in that view. Nice, I can be centered. Hey, that's me. So you've got this kind of word list that I'm using for building things out, and I figured, hey, might as well do something more with that. So really what I'm doing, hopefully there's nothing weird back there, let's see, is putting together cards for this game, right? So I'm using like Affinity, publisher, and here's that word list that uses CSV. So I had to have it in a CSV anyway, so I figured let's toss it in a database and see if I can do some interesting stuff with it in the web, because that's me. Make sure I've got everything up. Cool. So yeah, so I've already kind of moved it honestly into Xata. I think it's pronounced Xata, Xata. And this is basically that CSV, but it's now in a database. You can see it doesn't even have all my definitions and sentences, but that's because I don't know that I'll need them for this. So it's worth not worrying about too much. And then I'm working on putting it into an Astro project, because why not? And so I already have the Astro project set up. It's using Astro 5 because that just came out this week, and I've already been using some other functionality for it for other projects. And it's just basically the basic setup. So we're going to start by just making a static endpoint that's going to return hopefully all of my words. So yeah, we've got this from the docs, which we'll start with. Make sure we have it all set up. I don't know why I'm getting that. I think I was working on a story block project, so who knows what's hitting it there. So localhost, probably because I had another window up somewhere. Oh, they've changed the default. That's kind of nice. It's kind of neat. Get started, open up the source pages, and we have now theoretically API/all words not found. .json, I guess. I have to put .json in. Aha, there we go. Parse failure. Expected a comma and got. This is just, I copied and pasted it. Import type from API route. Oh, this isn't a TypeScript. That makes sense. That, although it doesn't like the ID, but that's fine. All right, blank. Cool. All right, so new response. This is a GET request. I'm kind of curious. Oh yeah, this is not in the right file. I don't want it in this file. I want it to be in this one. This is going to be how we end up getting everything, but we need to get the data in here, and that's where this static path is going to come from. We don't need it to be the dynamic data. We need it to be the simplest form. So let's get this, I suppose. So let's see. Params request. Not using them, that's fine. And then we're stringifying a response body, and that should get us name and URL. Cool. So we're good on that. All right. Let's see. So we've got an endpoint. Now we need to see if we can hook up Xata into this. And I've honestly never used this, although I'm in talks with a friend of mine to build an Astro course. And we're also talking to Xata about that, because that might be a good combo. So I'm learning it. So we need to install their CLI, no problem. Yes, I'm sure, that's fine. I also need to figure out, I'm getting back on my personal computer after a little time away, so I'm getting some errors, and I gotta figure that out. But that's fine. That's probably just my Node version in some way. There it is. All right, so that's installed. So it then says to initialize using this. That's fine. So Xata initialize the DB from that DB URL. Let's see, probably just want TypeScript, and I guess I want code generation, although we'll see if that is a good thing or not. Where do we want this to go? That probably makes sense. Inside of our source, Xata.ts, sure. I do like how it even makes sure that it shows what it's creating in my .env file, but it's hidden from you hooligans. So that's a good thing. I don't have to go back and blur this for a second. And then it even tells me how to make my first query. That's nice. All right, but I'm gonna go over here where I can see it a little bit better. So we get our Xata client, which is generated, which we'll have to figure out where that's coming from in my project structure. So it's not actually here. We're gonna go, do I have an at set up? Oops, at. All right, let's see, tsconfig. I gotta remember how to do this. So we'll go to astro, what do you call this? Alias components. All right, imports reference. That's what we want. That's all good. Files and blah, blah, blah. Import aliases, there we go. So we take our paths and put that into our tsconfig, yes. All right, so new comma, paths, components, and we'll also want to probably be @ anything from source. That's probably what we want there. Yeah. All right, so this gives me my components and my assets if I want them later on, but also means that my import can work here. So @ Xata clients, I think, is that what we called it? Inside of source, just Xata. Xata.ts. That should work, but it's not. Get Xata clients declared but never read. Oh, well, cannot find module at Xata. Okay, so how do we set that up again? Oh, we don't need the, yeah, we do need slash. So let's just say at base. I don't know if just slash will work. And I'm gonna go ahead and assume this is gonna work, and then I'm just getting this underlined because it's old. We'll see what happens. So then we'll say, let's go back to Xata again. Const that, Xata client, and then we want to get all of this. And I'm gonna paginate differently. I don't know why, I guess it's page because it's paginated. Select the ID, grade level, part speech, sentence, word. That's all things I want, sure. And the page, let's get, how many do I have? I don't think I need anything else from here. Do I have an ID listed here? Oh, it's all hardcore. 70 records, there it is. So let's paginate on 70 for the moment. Save that, and then let's console log the page. And then we'll want to refresh. Error. All right, so you can't actually find that. That's fine. So we gotta figure out getting that alias to work. Is it that? I don't think it is, no. So my tsconfig, maybe it's not being read. Let's npm run dev. So that's no good. So at base slash Xata. Let's see. Paths, and then can I not do it at the base? Do I need base URL? I guess I need base URL. I don't think I had that in my config. Let's see. Astro config. Where are you? Astro config. No, not astro config. tsconfig. Oh, it didn't like paths. Paths should be set inside compiler options. Aha! That's our issue. All right, compiler options, indent all our code, non-relative paths are not allowed when base URL. That's the other thing that we need. So base URL at dot. Still not liking something, but that's okay. Let's see what it's not liking. Still can't, oh, because I put the slash in there and we don't need the slash now. So how about that? That's better. All right. So we are still getting an error because API key is required. So that means that the API key is not getting set properly. Look at all that code gen. Option API key is required. That's fine, but I thought I was going to get everything that I needed from you. Client. Is that a client? Extends database client. All right. Without process. Import. No. All right. So it's not actually reading my API key. So why is that the case when I'm getting it from here? So I ran that. I wish it told me what I needed. So that's the same either way. That's fine. All right. So like the interesting thing is I'm actually probably not going to be reading from here. I'm going to be reading from my local version. But see, I swear it said it. All right, I'm going to go into blur mode. Haha. Love that still works. Although now I'm over here. So it's like, see how I moved? I moved things earlier. So blur mode, let's see. I need to go into my .env and see if I've got, I do have my Xata API key. So that's configured. Make sure your framework tooling loads this file on startup to have it available for the SDK, which it does, I'm pretty sure. So that means, go back to this, that await DB wordless, server-side query. I mean, we're basically doing that. So theoretically, let's see, we've got Xata client that we're getting from the Xata file. And then Xata equals, it's weird that that's not like a constructor that's like need to new. But I'm wondering if I need to put some options in here. Because I feel like that would be where I'd put my API key. So let's see, do you have options array here? No. Let's see. Let's just look up Astro Xata client. All right. Install blog posts. All that's fine. Install that. Xata off. You don't have an account. That's fine. Then in upon completion, the command will generate a new API key for your user. It did that. You should be able to view this key in the account settings page in the UI. The key will also be stored locally on your computer. Okay, so we have the .env file. New Astro project, new database. Gets the interface, the code gen. Got to define out the database. We already have one. You also see that special. Okay, I don't need that. I don't think. Basic styling and layout. We have nothing, but we don't need that yet. Main layout. Aha. Okay. Xata client from Xata. Here it is. Xata client, and I take an API key and a branch, both of which I have in there. Hey, Brad! I did make it live. I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitch. I think there's, let's see, right? Like here, there's like a little blurb because I'm not paying for Restream yet. But I figured, hey, that's not a big deal. So yeah, I hope you're doing good today. Thanks for encouraging me to stream and for helping me figure out that I wanted to be on YouTube probably. I don't think that very many people are watching right now, but that's all good. All right, so next up, we got to initialize this client. So what are we looking at here? It is an object for the parameters, and there is an API key. So let's actually grab that, because that's what we want. I think that's what it named everything. So the Xata client is an object, has an API key, which is theoretically that, although it's not like this at all. Expected 0 arguments. So maybe their setup is different. And they do have a new, but this isn't a constructor. All right. So I wonder if this is an older version in some way. All right. So take a look at this. There's no Restream blurb on YouTube? This is funny, we'll pull this over real fast. So there's a little Restream thing here. I was like, hey, let me X that out. Upgrade now. I'm not yet. But yeah, it's supposed to be like that, and this is what's supposed to, I don't know. It's all good. Happy that it's not there, because that'll live in perpetuity. So, all right, super pleased about that. That's awesome that it's not there. All right, so it's saying all this should be happening, although it seems like I want to have a config Xata credentials file instead of the initialization, but that's fine. Let's figure that out. Let's run this. Let's just follow this step by step and see what we get. Authentication is already configured. Do you want to override it? Yes? No. All right, so it thinks we're good there. Let's go ahead and make this file and see what we can get. All right, so new file in the base of my project at .config Xata credentials. And then we'll do this, because that's what it says to do. And I don't think I'll have this available in process, so let me just grab the key from here. Save it in and close it, and back to regular screen. Oop, too late. So I shouldn't need any of this. I'll have to go back and kill that key at some point. API key is required. That's very interesting. Okay, so I have that. Generated code. We get the Xata client. So let's get the Xata client if it exists instead of get Xata client. And then we can initialize a new Xata client and do the things we were planning on doing before. API key is going to be import.meta.env. Screen. Xata API key. Screen. Right. Save that and see what we get. Output. Okay, option branch is required too. All right, that's fine. Branch is going to be import meta env. I think it's Xata branch. I think that's right. Oh, there it is. Again, like I would think that Xata would have it where it would like automatically make it the code work. Like I feel like that's a thing, but I don't know. So here we have all the words, and that means that we can return those here. So instead of this object, we'll return JSON stringify our page. And the great thing is, theoretically, as part of that, I'm thinking there is meta. I've got my cursor and I've got my size. So theoretically, I can even get that if I need it. So here's all the words. And then we also want to set up a get route here where we're kind of doing the same thing. So what we can do is I think I might be able to hit my API route. I think I might be able to go ahead and hit that. So here, I mean, it might make sense just to, yeah, let's just use the Xata client stuff again, just so we keep it all relatively clean. So we want all this down here. Then in our get static paths, we're gonna also need to have Xata client up here. Theoretically, I should probably make that a I already have that. I need to in my get static paths. Oh, I have that. Xata client, new Xata client, cool. And then this is an async function. And I need this to be TypeScript, otherwise that won't work. All right, save. And then we're not returning the page. So what we need to do is return back an array, which we're gonna map over and give it params that match up with IDs, I guess. So we'll take page dot, maybe entries, records.map. We'll take the record and we'll do one of those for each one. And since this is relatively small and I don't want to make a call for every single item, let's go ahead and pass it its own set of props with, do I want to, I think I want to do that. Oh, it doesn't like that. So the props will have a record on it. That's fine. Let's actually call that word. And the word is the record. Cool. Save that. Probably get rid of that console log. That's going to be annoying. Let's see. Console log. Delete. All right. So theoretically, I can take any of my records and I can go to API/words/that record. Words.json, because this is all static. And I think I'm going to keep it static for now. Okay, empty. So why is that empty? Because I am probably not returning anything for it. Yeah, that's the next thing we have to do on this. So let's take a look. ID params. And then, yeah, we got return. Huh. JSON stringify, name, usernames. All right, so what do we have for us here? Let's get some paths. And then here, we need the ID, params ID, that's fine, because I'm getting that here. And then this will be word, which comes from words ID. Where are we getting names from? Usernames are up here. I see what's happening. Okay. So what we're doing is we're building the params down here. I actually don't. Okay, yeah. So we need to make one array, pass that array down here, and then have that with the IDs. And then up here, we're just grabbing the username base. Okay, yeah. So our Xata code doesn't go here. Grab this. Instead of usernames, we'll have records coming from that, which we're getting all that information from, and that's fine. Pagination size, again, at some point we'll modify that. So then records gets used down here. Records.map, that's all fine. We don't need the props anymore because we're actually going to have the data be up here where we send back an object, where we get that. All right, let's see what we get. There it is. All right, but we're getting records, which I don't want. I don't want an array. And this should be matching, and I guess it's returning an array with just that. So, like, theoretically, could we just do that? And we would just get record. Record. Now, yeah, now it just returns that. Do we even need record, or could we spread this? We can just spread it. Although, like, I do wish, so I imported from my CSV, and that's kind of a weird thing to have actually, yeah. I wish that they had looked at that and said, hey, here's actually how this should be, as opposed to just taking the strings from the word list CSV. All right, so we've got that. We've got our data. We have endpoints for them. They're static endpoints, which means that once this runs, I'm not actually querying against Xata anymore, which is fine. And then we can move on to our front end, I think, which is a weird thing that I think we're going to do. So let's go to our index page, get out of that. I'm also very curious. This is all new layouts and templates that came with 5.0, which is kind of cool that we're getting to look at that right now. What's the welcome component have in it? It has a background, the container. It's a lot of design for it. All right, so in our index, welcome is fine. Let's go ahead and have H1. Back to our index. All right, the H1's all the way down there. Because again, all of this, which I guess makes sense, they don't want to put all this in the layout, because that makes it actually harder to get started on. So like at first I was like, why would they do that? But the nice thing is we get rid of welcome, and now it's like legitimately blank, which I think is actually kind of a nice idea. All right. So this is going to be spelling game 0.01 or 0.1. 0.0.1. There we go. All right. So we'll say we have a paragraph. Click the button below. Get your word to spell. Because the thing is, I'm going to see if there's text to speech. And honestly, I don't even know if there is. But we'll have a button here that is get word, and then that will have, we'll do an island, and we'll see if we just want to do just plain JavaScript on that, or if we want to do React or something like that. So we've got a button to get the word, and then let's see, browser text to speech. Let's see. Let's make this browser text to speech JS. Web speech API. Because theoretically what we can do is when you click the button, you'll get your word. And then, yeah, then we should be able to just play that. So let's see, speech color changer. I don't want web speech, do I? Because that's listening. I don't want speech recognition. All right, JS. say word. JS speak string. Speak method. All right, we have a speak method. That's good. Interface adds utterance. It's supported in widely available. So what do we need to do? We have on submit, so we'll do that with our button click. We'll have an on click for that, and then we're going to do new utter this speech synth this utterance input text value. So we'll get the value from a random number from 0 to 70 on our thing, and then we'll pass it into this, and then voice select. I don't know that I care about that. I don't care about any of that. And then synth, which is, where's synth? Window.speechsynthesis.speak, utter this. Okay, so that all makes sense to me. So that means let's get a script. And that's fine, button add event listener. Make sure this is all working before we do anything. Cool. All right, so don't want an alert. We want to first, just in case, let's go ahead and prevent the default, even though we don't have a default right now. And then we need to const word equals fetch. And we're going to get that from our API word number, which we'll change this in a second to make that work. Number doesn't exist yet, that's fine. Const number, math floor, math random between 0 and 70. That should do what we want, I think. And then we fetch that. Let's await it. Can I await in a click? And then once we have that, let's console log it. We got an error. Could not find localhost. Oh, it's because I can't do a number. That's annoying. That means that I need to get as data that entire list. And that's okay, because we're going to do it here. And that means that I can have an array and I can grab a random from the array and get the ID off of that. And that's probably fine. All right, so const word list equals, and we're going to do a fetch up here where we want to await the fetch. And that's going to go to API word list. And then we can get a random one from that and get the word. Although I guess I don't even need, if I'm doing that, I have the list already, right? I don't actually have to request it from the API. So I could request it from the API if I wanted to, but I don't have to. So yeah, instead of that, except for I don't have this in JSON at this point. So I need to have that here. So it would be, let's rejigger this a little bit. Words is await that, but I want to map it to just be word. And for that, I want it to be, let's get the API back up. API word list. What's it called again? Pages, API, all words. That's what I get. .json. All right. So word list is actually from all words. And then we're going to take that, we're going to map over it, which I think I'm getting JSON back. Especially since this should read .json here. And then the words, we will then return an object that just has the Xata ID on it, word. And we'll call this actually ID equals word dot Xata ID. So then when we loop through this, see, I don't need to do that, right? I can just get everything. Yeah, I can just get everything. That's fine. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need. All right. Console log word list up here, just so we know. All right, we are getting an error, invalid URL. Failed to parse slash, because I think at this point I need the base. I think technically I need to know. So if this were actually HTTP localhost 4321, that will work. Yeah, all right, that's fine. For now, that's fine, and then we'll deal with that later on. So we've got word list, console log word list. That's everything, and then I can actually, and again, like that means that I should probably not actually have this be an API. That's premature optimization there. It means I should probably, that's fine. We'll crack that note when we come to it. All right, so const word list equals, and this is just going to be the word list here. Actually need that. Let's see. I'm in script, but I need this to be, doesn't like that. Word list implicitly has, okay, that's fine. And this block scope variable word list used before its declaration. Okay, so that means that this needs to be that instead. No, this is where we start getting into weirdness with Astro. All right, so Astro use front matter variable in script. Define vars. Okay, cool. Not a big deal. So in our script, we're going to define some variables, and one of them is going to be our word list. That means I don't even have to do that. And again, like Astro's got some stuff like that that is nice. All right, then we do need to get a random word. So what we can do is we can do it instead of from, we'll do math random times word list dot length, and then we will, instead of doing this call, our word will be word list number, and then we'll console log the word and see what we get. Where is the page? Here. All right. Undefined. Excellent news. All right. So let's see what we've got here. Let's console log word list, and let's console log number. Click. All right. Number is not a number. Excellent news. And the word list is a blank object. Also excellent. Now, why is that? Astro define vars. All right, here we go. Define vars can pass server-side variables from your component front matter into the client. Any JSON serializable front matter variable is supported, including props. All right, so at this point, I'm getting a readable stream. All right, that's fine. So we will say await that, and then we'll do a then, where we'll take the response and run it through JSON. And then the word list is actually the records on that. So can I do, I don't think I can do, this will be records. And then really need to do this, but just so we can take a look at it this way, word list is going to be the records. Back to Astro Basics, click get word, we get all those, we get the number, and we get a word. All right. On click, we have a word. So now I should be able to, on a click, get the sound. That's the next thing. So let's take a look at, was it you? No. Speech synthesis, here it is. All right. So we do need to get that from the window. Back to our script here. So synth is the window.speech synthesis, and we need a new utterance inside of our click. Utter this, and we're, instead of this, it's got to come down here after our word, and we want to put our word here. And all right, so this is going to read, it's going to be a random word every time. We're going to have to save it and not allow for a new random word until they're ready, until they've tried this one. But let's see.
Object, object.
Object, object. Excellent news. So this will be word and word.word.
Stand. Applaud. Leave. Draw. Away.
Because theoretically we could also have sentence. So let's see. Might be time to go ahead and move into React, because I could do all this in vanilla JavaScript, but there's going to be a lot of management. Because really, what happens when I have a word saved and ready, I want to display an input. When the input is there, I want to display a play button for listening, and the input and the submit button. And then we check to see if the word is spelled properly. And then if it is, we can count a point. And if we count a point, then we can move on to the next. We can have like a get next word button. So we could also then have a skip button. Yeah, all right. So all this is fine, but let's go ahead and rock out some React here, I think. So if we go to Astro React Island, because I can never remember how to install it. All right, React. Oh, that's just taking us all the way there. Yes, I understand all the benefits. I just want to do it. Although, love it to be server. Client islands. Astro add React. I think it's just npx astro add React, but let's find the docs. Yes. All right, this will give us everything that we need. While that installs, that's installing all of this. Hopefully we'll also, yes, install that for me. All right, yes, add that there. Yes, that's fine. All right, so now I can actually start creating JSX components and loading them via JavaScript. So that's fine, that's fine. Children parsing. I'm making sure there's nothing that's changed. All right, cool. So theoretically in our components now, we could have a get word component, or we could actually have our kind of our entire game component that would load in, and I would pass that the word list. So let's have a game.jsx, and we're going to export function game, and yeah, there's the game board. We're going to take in props and we'll say const word list equals props. And yeah. So let's do that, and let's import it into our index. I'm going to go ahead and comment out all this. And then here, instead of the button, we'll then have our game from that, and we'll pass it a word list of word list. Word list is not assignable, that's fine. That's okay. So then it should be an error. Yay! It doesn't like word list. So instead of props destructured, it's probably just props. Which means I can actually probably do a destructuring here of word list. And console log word list. Right, well, we're not getting that, but we are getting the game loaded here. So that's fine. Alright. Oh, and also let's see if it's... That's all fine. So let's have a button here. Get word. And then the button will have a handle click, which will be a function. Probably an async function. Get word, which needs to be inside of our exported function. So I've got access to the word list. There we go. Handle click is going to be get word. And I actually don't need to return that. I need to put all of my, well, probably do need to, that's fine. Let's just console log. We didn't like that. Console log random index. It's fine. React does not recognize the handle click. So that's actually, it's been a long time since I did React. Button on click. On click. On click equals handle. I guess it's get word, right? Get word. All right. Again, we have a console log that's way too long, but that's okay. So we got get word. That does nothing because it's not JavaScript yet. We need to actually have it be a client response. So don't need you open anymore. Index. So client. Let's make it idle. And let's get rid of this console log because that's going to be annoying. All right, there we go. Get word 36. Word 36. Excellent. Oh, because yeah. So what we actually want is this to be, we actually want state, right? So this would be const word and set word use state, and then we need to import use state from React, and then we're going to set the state in here and get word. So set word is word list random. And then if we've got a, let's just do that for now. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Get word, big ol' error. Awesome. Objects are not valid as a React child. Word dot word. Hurt. Cool. Meter aloft. Yep, perfect. So we don't actually want to display that because that defeats the purpose of spelling. So we'll have, let's have a new component for our word input. So we'll call this word input.jsx export const function or export again. Yep, word input. There we go. That's all fine, I think. actually want to set word. That's no good. But what we want to do is actually have an on submit. So this will actually need to be a form. And what we'll do is on the submission, we will check it. So here we've got on, we have an on submit, we do, and this will be, that's fine, submit. So we'll do word check for our function up here. We don't need an on change. I suppose we could, but that's fine. We don't need a value set. A lot of accessibility things that we'll need to come back and clean up later on. All right, so word check. So we're going to take the const event.target.0. That's fine. And that's the value. And then we actually need the word. So we have that. Okay, so the const is right equals input equals the word, and then console log that. And then we actually have to display that. So what we'll do is we'll say, all right, if there is a word, word end, and we will use, what do we call it? Word input, pass it the word and the set word in case I need it. Set word will need, because we'll want to get a different word when we come to that. Which means we need to get the get word method as well. All right, that's fine. All right, so now that shouldn't be there unless we have a word. There we go. All right, get word. Let me actually, let's display it for the moment. Word. All right, so leave, submit. I need to prevent default on that submission. So event dot prevent default. True. All right, so then when it's true, I need to set the word. So we also, again, like this is where everything's being eaten. It's eaten alive. We'll need to actually, let's go ahead. I don't want this button anymore. So not word. And that. So I can get a word. It'll show here. Although, why is it not showing the word? Anyway. So theoretically, I submit. I get true. And then when I get true, I show a success message. So let's have in this, in word input, let's have const success, that's success. We'll start with false. Actually, let's start with null. And then set success to that, but let's set a message for it, correct or incorrect. And then we'll need to function clear success, set success to null. Oh, that's interesting that it wants me to get word at that point, get word. But I don't want to do that yet. So then what we can do is on here, we're building out this. So actually success we want to raise up. Again, so much state issues. Ooh, error. Use state is not defined. Yes, it's not. Grab it from here. Paste it in here. All right. Then we'll have a success here. Get word, burglar, correct. So then we want to get rid of the button. So if we have a no success, show this. And then if we have a success, we want to have a next word button that runs not clear success, but new word, which that's not how you write a function. That's not how you write anything. New word. Function, new word, clear success, get word, and const new word equals get word, and then we're going, I suppose actually we just set word to get word. Word, get word. No clue if that'll work. Unexpected token. Got one too many ampersands. All right, so burglar. Runt. All right, so something's going wrong there. So that means I have a check that's wrong. All right, so we're clearing success. That takes that back to null. And then when there is no, we bring that back. But why am I not showing this form at all? On click, new word. When new word's happening, we clear success and we set word to get word. Let's go ahead and instead of any of this, let's const word equals get word, and then console log word. Get the word. Myself. All right, it is coming back as undefined, it would appear. Radiant. Let's go ahead and console log an object. Get word always correct. Interesting that it's then, oh, because I gotta get next word. That's right. All right, so we should actually, when there's success, we don't want to show the form at all, right? Yeah, this needs to come out of the form. And in fact, that's why we're gonna probably hoist this up. But, so success is actually, all this form is going to be not success, and then when there is success, I can have the next word button. All right. Oh, but we want to make sure not success or success equals false. Can I do that? This should probably be a success equals null, and that should be a double there too, or a triple. So if success is null or success is false. So let's get rid of all this and move it up to this point. Except for this should be, yeah, success is false. Get word between, but I don't have that, and that's because this condition isn't being met. If success is null, show the form. If success is false, show the form. Which theoretically should happen for both success and not success. Snout. Cool. Next word. I don't get that back, so that's a bug. See, it just shows incorrect and I lose the form. Let's do some coercion there and see what happens. I mean, I guess it's fine. Let's change what we want to do here. So let's also show here. We'll do this is where word is going to be a problem, isn't it? Ooh, didn't like that. It's word.word. What? Oh, weird that I put that outside. All right. Correct. It's gravity. Next word. I don't get that back. That's fine. See, but when I click next word, new word, I don't have any of this. Cool. Laugh. Correct. Next word, afraid. Incorrect. Afraid. Next word, area. Cool. So that means that this is all kind of working. Let's have on the game board a score. We should be able to increment a score on this. So let's have a const score, set score started at 0. And where's that console log coming from? Don't want this. Console, there it is. Be gone. So let's put word score get word, and then we get the word. We also need to, the game has so much in it now. So the word input also needs set score. And the word input, when we get, is we're gonna set it to +1 or -1. Or let's not do minus, right? That's mean. Let's just do not a plus. So const score 1 or 0, and then set score is going to be previous score +1. Sandwich. Later. Switch spelled wrong. So that all works. Not bad. It's pretty good for about an hour's worth of work. Yeah, cool. So I don't think anyone's there anymore, but let's go ahead and just call that a day. If you hung out, cool, appreciate it. If you're watching this later, ask any questions in the comments. Maybe there's some content I'll create around this, showcasing some of the React or showcasing what I'm doing with Astro or Xata here. Yeah. Until next time, y'all. Thanks for watching.